Hello, I'm Vinny from Arctropics. Recently, I posted a video of me driving a car on a highway scene in Godot Engine, and some people started asking me if I can make a tutorial on how I made that highway. So in this video, I'm going to show how to make this highway scene in Blender and then import it into Godot Engine. I will be using Blender 3.0, but you can use any version, any Blender version after 2.8, and I will be using Godot Engine 3.4.1. For this tutorial video, I will be using an add-on from Blenderkit, but you don't really need to use it if you have your own material library, or if you're going to make your own materials from scratch, then you don't really need to use that add-on. But if you do not have your own materials for road or sidewalk or walls and you just want to follow along the tutorial, then I would suggest that you actually install this add-on, because there are these amazing ready-made materials that you can use for your models. To install the Blenderkit, all you need to do is go to the Blenderkit website. I will put the link in the description, but it's very simple to remember. It's blenderkit.com. Just go to that and then just download this zip file, this add-on. And once you have downloaded this add-on, you need to go to Blender again, and in Blender you just need to go to Edit and then Preferences. In this Preferences windows, all you need to do is click on Install and search where you have downloaded the zip file. I have already done it, but so I don't really need to reinstall it. After you have installed it, make sure you look for it and check that the Blenderkit Online Asset Library is checked, and once that is done, your add-on has been installed. So now that the plugin is installed, we can start modeling. First thing, let's select everything and delete it. And just to get an idea of the correct size, I'm going to add the cube and then press Tab to go into the edit mode, and then press G to grab, and then Z to limit it to Z-axis, and press 1. This actually moves the whole cube 1 unit up in the Z-axis, and then I press Tab and then I press S and I scale it down to 0.5. Now if I Control A and apply all the transforms, you can see that it will actually have the edge of 1 meter. Now I know that this is 1 meter, so I can again scale it and press Shift Z to scale only on all axes except for Z, and then scale it again on Z axis and make it 1.7, which is approximately the height of an average human, and then press Control A and apply the transforms, and now if you see, height is 1.7 meters. So this is something that I'm going to take as a reference to how big my bridge is going to be. Now I'm going to press H to hide it and Shift A to add a plane. Now you can see that there's a plane, and all I need to do is I need one of the vertices. So I press Tab and scale it, and when I press S in the scale mode, I just press 0, and when I press 0, all the 4 vertices go to the center, and right now there are actually 4 vertices, but I can see only 1 because they all are at the same location. Without exiting the edit mode, I'm just going to go to Mesh, Clean Up, and say Merge by Distance. And you can see at the bottom it says removed 3 vertices. So out of the 4 vertices, 3 have been removed, and now there should be only 1 which I'm moving, and you can see that this is 1. So now we have this, and I'm going to say E for extrude and limit it to X axis and take it out here towards the left. So now is the time to exit and just press Alt H so that I can see that, okay, this is the average height of a human. So if I select this road and I select this, I can keep moving it to approximately say 10 meters or 8 meters depending on how much how big highway you want. I would just say I'm gonna limit it to 7 meters, like this approximately. It doesn't need to be precise. If you need to make it precise, you can just go ahead and make it precise. And I'm going to extrude again, and this time also limited to X, and then extrude again, limited to X, approximately 2.5 meters, and then extrude again, limited to X. And now I can select these two in the middle and then just grab G and press Z to bring it up a little bit. And now towards this end again, extrude, limited to X a little bit, and then extrude and Z to limited to Z and make this wall. Extrude X, extrude Z, and then now my wall is kind of complete. So now you see that this half of the highway, and this is this area is the sidewalk, and this is the wall. Now that we have this half of the highway, what we can do is we can actually just go to the Modifier tab and add a modifier called the mirror modifier here. If you just click on it, it's going to mirror the whole thing. As you can see, it has mirrored this shape that we created on the x-axis. On the modifier, just make sure you switch on the clipping, and this is just to make sure that this place where these two are meeting are clipped together so that they're one object. And now you have a mirrored version of the shape that we have made for the highway. Now when we press tab, I will press A to select all the vertices, and then press extrude, and Y, in the Y direction I wanted to extrude a little bit. So now you see that this is the section of the highway. So this is going to be the sidewalk, this is going to be the road, and this is going to be the sidewalk of the other side, and then wall on both sides. The idea behind this is to repeat this small road section again and again to make the highway. We will do this by adding a modifier called the array modifier. And when you add the array modifier, you see that by default it is repeating itself on the x-axis, but we want it to repeat it on y. So on the relative offset, just make the x to 0 and y to 1 so that it repeats itself on the y-axis. You can enter the number of times you want it to repeat. So say for example, if I want it to repeat 15 times, it's going to repeat 15 times, and you can see that this is giving a shape of a highway because the same section is repeating itself. If you want a straight road, this is all you need to do. You just need to keep adding 50 or 100 or whatever amount of times you want to repeat it. But in my case, I want to make it a proper road or a racetrack that is in a loop. So it starts from somewhere and goes right and left and then comes back to where it was. So it's like a loop, so I can keep driving on it as long as I want. So to do that, I want this section to repeat itself not just in a straight line but in a curve, and I'm going to use a Bezier curve to achieve that. To begin, first I'm going to switch off the array modifier, and I'm going to hide this section. And I'm also now, I can actually just delete this reference cube that I had. I can delete it. Now I can add a curve, a Bezier curve, and press tab, and I have two vertices, and then one of the vertices I want to move to the center. So I'm just going to say Shift S, selection to cursor, and now I'm just going to make the shape of the curve I want the road to follow. So it's going to be something like this, and then every time I want to extrude, I'm just going to say same extrude function, press E, and then bring it, G to grab and move it, then press the vertex and press E again, and I'm gonna grab it and bring it here, grab the handles to give it some shape or direction, and then extrude again, and then bring it here. And the last one, I'm going to select the last vertex and the first vertex and then press F, and this will actually join the two of them. Not very impressive or perfect or anything, but I can actually make it a little. I've made some modifications to the curve, and now I can just press Alt H to unhide my road section, and in the array I'm just going to turn on the array again, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the fit type from fixed count to fit curve, and I'm going to select the Bezier curve, and you can see that it's trying to repeat itself as many times as it is required to fit this curve, but it is still not really bending the road around the curve. For that, we just need to make sure that we apply another modifier called the curve modifier. And once we apply the curve modifier after the array modifier, we select the Bezier curve, and you see that it's trying to do something, but this is not what we want. We want it to repeat itself on another axis, and using -y, you see that it just starts repeating the whole road the other way around. It does it, but it does it the other way around. So if I look at it from the top, it's just doing it, but it's doing it the other way around. So I can just go here, I can press tab and then RX, rotate to 180 degrees, and then press tab again, and now it's not upside down anymore. And I think I'm pretty happy with this racetrack for now. So now let's apply the materials. To apply the materials is not going to be very difficult. I'm just going to switch off the curve and the array modifier for now, and we're going to work on this. I can just press slash to isolate this object. Like I said, I'm going to use the Blenderkit add-on. I'm just going to click on Blenderkit, and I'm going to go to materials and search for road, and it's going to give me the road. I think I have used these before, and I think this one seems to be the one. Road with dashed line seems to work pretty good. So now this is here. If I select all of them and then you do unwrap, you see that now, since it has been unwrapped, the material has been applied, but it's not correct. So we go to the UV editing, select the road color, and then select only the road, the part we want. I'm pressing 3 to select the road, and now I'm going to resize it, and let's see how it looks. It looks nice, but it's the wrong direction. So I select everything and I rotate it this sideways. Now in the material, I'm going to add another material, and this time I'm going to search for metal, and I think I'm going to apply this metal, and this metal floor is here now. I'm going to select these 4 faces. I'm going to select, and I'm going to assign them the metal floor, and same thing has happened. We just need to make sure that the UV is correct for these. Scale it, and metal, just make it, I think this is This is okay. And the last thing we have to do is apply a next new material for the wall. So for the wall, I'm going to go and search wall, and I think I'm going to take this one. Just going to use this one here and select these three faces and assign the wall to it. The wall has been assigned, but we still need to go and check in here the wall diffuse. I'm using these two first. Once we have this, we can turn on our modifiers, the array modifier. Now you can see that the whole road looks like a road. If you want a straight road, this absolutely works like as is. You don't need to do anything. But if you want a curved loop, you turn on the curve modifier, and now you see that the road is there. Now it's time to export it to Godot Engine. Normally what you can do is you can go ahead and just like select your item and you can just export it to GLTF. But I just realized that when we do some things with array, the modifiers are actually changing the UV because when you export in the GLTF, and it's going to try and apply all these modifiers, and then at that time the UV is not going to be exported correctly. So what I do is I'm just going to save it as a different file, and then I'm going to apply my modifiers on my own. So I'm just going to go and select the first one, first apply this one, then apply this one, and then apply this one. And now this whole thing is a big object. If I go here in the object data properties, I can see UV maps, and I see two UV maps. What really happens is when I'm gonna export it, it's gonna take this UV map. So you can see if I switch this on, the UV maps look really off. It's like something's wrong with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete this UV map. So now we have this map. You can rename it, or you can just like let it be. Once this step is done, you can now save it, and you can now export this to a GLTF. So now in Godot, I have already placed this GLB file, which I have exported from Blender, and when I click on a new scene and I drag and drop it here, or I drag and drop it in the main node, you can see that the highway road is here. And now I can use it the way I can put a car in it. It's just also not exactly 100% flat. There's a little bit of elevation here. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will be making more tutorials and posting them on this channel. I also have a blog of tutorials and other things, and the link is in the description if you want to check out some stuff that I've been working on in my blog. Thanks for watching.